template itself and what it was made out of, what it looked like, you realize it really is, there's something disturbing here. It was designed, in my opinion, for something else, something darker, something far more sinister. Now, what is that specifically? But what if it was actually a gateway into the spiritual, a gateway into another dimension?
High-profile witness in the craziest trafficking conspiracy of all time.
President Trump's sudden reversal when it comes to the Jeffrey Epstein files.
Epstein writing, "I have met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump."
What the hell is he hiding?
New York City, when a friend brought her to meet Epstein to give him a massage.
I think with Jeffrey Epstein, it starts somewhere, but then it ends with...
The world is going crazy as the Jeffrey Epstein files are starting to get released more and more as emails come out. And today we're going to be reacting to a lot of this going on. First, the news, then Joe Rogan comments on this, and then we have the End Times production says that the Epstein files emails reveal fallen angels. That's what's going on today. So let's get into it.
We begin tonight with President Trump's sudden reversal when it comes to the Jeffrey Epstein files. It comes with the House set to vote tomorrow. It appeared many Republicans were going to join Democrats in voting to release the files. The president now calling on lawmakers to make the documents public. President Trump, who for some time had tried to convince some Republicans not to support this. In fact, one member of Congress was brought into the Situation Room in the White House, where the FBI director and the Attorney General were waiting to try to convince her. It didn't work. The vote comes after the House obtained thousands of documents from the Epstein estate last week, including multiple emails with references to Donald Trump. Tonight, survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse delivering new messages, pleading with members of Congress to finally make this happen.
Wow.
And tonight, President Trump is pressed. If the bill passes the House and then the Senate, will he sign it? Mary Bruce leading us off from the White House.
Tonight, under intense pressure from his own party, President Trump suddenly reversing course, telling House Republicans to vote yes on a measure to release the FBI's files on defender Jeffrey Epstein, and saying if the Epstein bill passes the House and Senate, he will sign it.
Sure, I would. Let the Senate look at it. Let anybody look at it. But don't talk about it too much because, honestly, I don't want to take it away from us.
For months, Trump fought to prevent this, even though he promised during the campaign to release the files. First, his close ally, Speaker Mike Johnson, kept the House out of session for 54 days, effectively stalling the vote.
He has nothing, he's never had anything to hide.
The White House then tried to pressure Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert to block the vote from happening, even summoning her to the Situation Room to meet with Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel. But Boebert didn't back down. It came as the House Oversight Committee released a trove of documents from Epstein's estate, Trump's name mentioned again and again. In one 2017 email, Epstein writing, "I have met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump, not one decent cell in his body. So yes, dangerous." In a 2018 text to an unidentified person, Epstein claiming,
I mean, if Epstein says that Trump is dangerous, is that a good thing? Because Epstein was a bad guy?
"I am the one able to take him down." By the weekend, dozens of House Republicans were preparing to defy the president and vote to release the files, including his close ally, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I have no idea what's in the files. I can't even guess, but that is the questions everyone is asking, is why fight this so hard?
The president furious, but facing a likely loss, Trump changed course, telling House Republicans to vote yes, saying, quote, "The House Oversight Committee can have whatever they are legally entitled to." Watching this all play out, Epstein's victims.
I suffered so much pain.
So much pain.
So much pain.
11 women in a new PSA pleading for the files to come out.
I was 14 years old.
I was 16 years old.
This is me.
Tonight, I spoke with one of those women, Annie Farmer.
Do you think these files will ever see the light of day?
I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe that was possible. I do believe it's possible, and I do think that people will demand that it happens.
And if you could say one thing to the president, send him one message, what would it be?
Keep your word, please, and release these files.
And David, it's important to keep in mind that the president doesn't have to wait for Congress to release the Epstein files. He could order the Justice Department to make them public right now, tonight. But so far, the president has not done that. David.
Mary Bruce leading us off from the White House. Mary, thank you.
So now we're going to check out this PSA. What exactly happened here? And this is super sad, kind of super evil.
I was 16 years old.
I was 16.
17.
14 years old. This is me. This was me.
This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein.
This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein.
Wow.
There are about 1,000 of us.
It's time to bring the secrets out of the shadows. It's time to shine a light into the darkness.
We're going to hear Joe Rogan say his thoughts on the Epstein files and Epstein himself.
Man, that's why we just got to love each other and do the best we can. Have a nice creme brulee, hug a buddy, tickle your friend or whatever, tell him he's gay or something.
That's a good move.
You know?
I just opened up my Instagram and he popped up
You're
immediately.
lying.
No, I'm not lying.
You were lying. What's he trying to sell you?
It's something important.
Something
He
important.
accidentally said the quiet part out loud about the Epstein files.
They all are doing that, dude.
All right, let's see what he said. Here, I'll send it to you, Jamie. They got me, these mother. They got me.
How much longer does Israel let us stay alive, do you think? That's the big question.
Why would they?
What did you say? Is that AI?
What are you saying?
That's Sora?
What are you saying?
I didn't say anything.
What are you saying?
Huh? Talking about Israel Adesanya.
Oh, well, he loves you. Don't worry about it.
Good call.
What are you saying, son?
Yeah,
See,
was it so
what
much
did he
fun?
say? What did he say about the Epstein files?
What did he say?
Let's hear what he said. He looks great.
Yeah, he's been drinking somebody's blood.
The last 4 years when President Biden was in office.
Well, that's the question every American is asking. Or not every American, but so many Americans are asking. What the hell is he hiding?
Why would...
Well, why are they?
That was a useless clip.
This whole thing's all now. It's all BS.
Well, it's fun.
You think he's alive? You think Epstein's alive?
I do not think so.
You don't?
No, I think they killed him. If I had to guess. There's too much circumstantial evidence that leads me to believe that it was an assassination. You know, I know a lot of people think that he committed suicide. A lot of very smart people that I know think he committed. I'm like, there's too many convenient things. The cut wires, the security cameras, rather, not working. They weren't cut, right? They just stopped. They didn't function. Security cameras didn't function. Yeah. The fact that he had shared a cell with this giant former cop who was a murderer, who had killed multiple people, just giant roided up cop. Like, this is a cellmate. Like, if you wanted to get somebody, hey, look, bro, extra Twinkies, take this guy out. Like, It wouldn't be hard. He's already killed a bunch of people. He was a drug dealer. Did you ever see the guy? Did you ever see the guy who was his cellmate?
No, but it's like
it's kind of hilarious.
It's like when you're a freshman in college and they just put you with somebody, you know?
Bro, if you wanted to get someone killed, you have a high profile witness, okay? High profile witness in the craziest trafficking conspiracy of all time, where a guy who may or may not have been an intelligence asset or an intelligence agent or whatever he was for whatever country, this guy he's arrested for trafficking to elites, and then you put him in jail.
Oh my God!
With that guy,
I thought that was the guy that fought Mike Tyson. Remember that dude who read that poem?
Bro, you
Remember
put him
him
in jail with that guy. All you have to do is get that guy cigarettes and steroids. You tell him, I got you Marlboro Reds and Tren. I got you testosterone replacement for life, even though you're going to still be in jail.
I got you some Marlboro.
I don't know if he was legitimately killed or not, but now I want to go to this very interesting video that I've seen about this man claiming that the Epstein emails reveal fallen angels.
An evil. They felt an evil. It was an evil that hung over certain parts of the island. In fact, the entire island, Little St. James Island. A lot of people said that as soon as they stepped onto the island, they felt it was off. They felt oppressed. They felt darkness that was surrounding the entire island.
Wow.
Now, when you look at this.
So what he's going to get into now is the temple and how it is actually really similar to the god of Moloch's temple, which is really, really creepy. And this is weird stuff. This is weird stuff. So we're about to find out a lot of weird stuff.
It's architecture, and you look at the temple itself and what it was made out of, what it looked like, you realize it really is. There's something disturbing here because it wasn't designed for humans, basically. It was designed, in my opinion, for something else, something darker, something far more sinister. And what is that specifically? Well, let's just cut to the chase because we can find the answer to that question in the Bible. Because Ephesians 6:12 says that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities,
Amen.
Against the powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Okay? That's what the Bible says. So what if Epstein's Island wasn't just about SA or ST, okay? But what if it was actually a gateway into the spiritual, a gateway into another dimension?
That the Sphinx was a door to another dimension, a gateway to immeasurable power.
That's true. It could have been, guys, in all of reality, just a place of sacrifice in worship to other spiritual deities, other things that are not of God, the sons of God, the things that the Bible warns us to not worship. Guys, we see this happening all the time. Still today, people are worshiping other gods, not just fame, money, power, and pleasure, literal gods that they're worshiping. And we need to put an end to it. We need to call it out for what it is.
To another dimension?
Demons live in the box.
Those were demons in the bowels of hell.
Let me show you what I mean, okay? The temple that was sitting on Little St. James on Epstein Island, it was on the highest point of the island. In my calculations, in my opinion, that's not random. He chose that specific spot on purpose. Why? Because it's an ancient occult practice. High places is what they were called in the Bible, and they were considered thin. The veil between our world and the other world was considered thinner the higher you get. So generally in the Old Testament and in the ancient times, occultists and people doing rituals and people trying to contact the other side would choose the highest place, the high place, to conduct their rituals so that their ritual would be a success. These locations where the barrier between the physical and the spiritual was weak, they're real and they're the high places, all right? So the Bible constantly warns us about high places over and over again. It's all over the Old Testament. God commands Israel to tear down places where the pagan nations were worshiping their gods. They're demons, they're fallen angels. Okay, this is spiritual warfare at its highest levels, everybody. And why? Why did they build it in the high places? Because it worked. Okay, they wouldn't do something over and over again if it didn't work. And as we know,
for cultural context, every time that the days of the Bible, that cultural context, everyone thought of the high places is where the gods were. That's why they always went up the mountain where no one could go, the impossible place. That's where the gods reside, because they don't reside with humans. No, they don't. So you had to go up on the mountain to meet with God. And that's where you make sacrifices. That's why still the Buddhist temples are always the tallest and the highest point of the town.
Old are also the things of new. All the secret societies, all the rituals, the occultism, all the black magic, everything around today is literally brought back from the ancient world. So if they did it in ancient times, they're doing it today. Okay? So let's look at the design itself of this building. The entrance, it faces magnetic north. In ritual magic, directional alignment, it really does matter. Because north, in occult theology, it represents the void, the abyss, the dwelling place of demonic entities. And that's occult cosmology, and that's across the board. By facing the door towards the abyss, is he summoning entities to come into that place? And if he is, what entities and why? All right, now look at the golden dome, okay, on this picture. Golden dome. It's a distinctive golden cap. And here's the thing that people don't talk about. That exact design, it appears and it was been featured on Phoenician temples that were dedicated to Moloch, the demon who demanded child sacrifice. Wow. That's right, Moloch, the Old Testament god. You think it's a coincidence that Epstein had that on his temple too? I don't. I think it was purposeful, and he did it.
There's also the dome on the Temple Mount in Israel from the Muslims too. That's a whole nother demonic thing.
For a specific reason. What about the blue and white stripes? These colors, that pattern, okay, it matches temples that were found all over Mesopotamia. Okay, specifically temples that were dedicated to Ishtar. Ishtar was the goddess of what? That's right. If you know, I can't really say it here, but what it represents, okay, it's the goddess of, also the goddess of war. It's a combination of what Epstein was doing and a war. That's what she represents. And in the Bible, she's known as Astaroth, one of the demonic entities that the Israelites were forbidden to worship.
Wow.
Okay, she's mentioned specifically. Ishtar, Ashtaroth, same thing. And the proportions of this temple, well, many architects have analyzed the building's dimensions, and according to these people, they don't match any known functional space. But what they do match is something else. sacred geometry. And these sacred geometry ratios were found and are found in Kabbalistic texts specifically. There are little specific mathematical relationships that are believed to create, they call it like a resonance, okay? Resonant with some spiritual force behind it, based on the dimensions of specific the buildings and, you know, angles by themselves. These things are known, and they have been known for thousands of years. But take all that stuff, don't listen to me, just take it with a grain of salt, whatever. But what you should do is listen to the witness testimony. The multiple women who escaped the islands describe the same thing. They allegedly describe underground chambers. I heard one story that there was 12 thrones arranged in a circle with symbols carved on each one that looked like no alphabet they'd ever seen. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I've heard it, and you probably have too. One of these women allegedly drew symbols from memory, and archaeologists identified them with Sumerian cuneiform,
Wow.
which was obviously the language that was written and used in ancient Babylon. I don't know if they're true or not, but this is what I've heard, and I don't know. Have you heard this too? That underneath the island, there's tunnels, there's secret areas, there's chambers in the rock that basically terrible, unspeakable things happened in. Spiritual
Demonic things. I don't know. What do you guys think? So here is a story of a lady who was on the island, a survivor of the island, while she was 14 years old. That's insane.
Details years of abuse at the hands of Epstein, starting right after she turned 14. Now 37, she talks about her ongoing trauma and why she is imploring lawmakers to make all the Epstein files public.
Until now, Marina Lacerda was known publicly only as minor victim number 1 in 2019 court documents. But now she's speaking out for the first time about her experience at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Her cooperation with the FBI was key to putting the offender behind bars. She says she was just 14 years old and living in a broken home in New York City when a friend brought her to meet Epstein to give him a massage.
I think with Jeffrey Epstein, it starts somewhere, but then it ends with either you having sex with him, whether you like it or not.
She became a part of a network of young girls in Astoria, Queens, recruited to be with Epstein, similar to what prosecutors say he did in Palm Beach, Florida.
When he has somebody new in his life, he likes to see them a lot. So I went there a whole bunch of times, and, you know, it led to, unfortunately, he forced me to have sex with him, basically.
Lacerda said she was paid thousands of dollars and that as a young immigrant from Brazil, she says she believed being associated with a financier could lead to better opportunities.
It never happened, obviously, you know, because it came to a point when I was, I'd say 16 and a half or 17. He didn't want me anymore. He was just like, you're too old.
He said that?
He's like, you're too old. I don't want you anymore.
Epstein was arrested in 2019 and charged with conspiracy and child trafficking, but died by suicide a month later while in custody awaiting trial.
To your knowledge, you never came across other adults who may have thought, it's really strange that there's this 14-year-old girl here.
We had the secretary, right, that would give me money if I needed. At times, I would pass by his office. His driver, or I guess his bodyguard, I don't know who he was, he delivered furniture to the house. The maids sometimes would be there. I would be hanging out in the kitchen.
In 2008, during the FBI's first investigation of Epstein, agents arrived at her door.
I was living with, you know, roommates that were like around my age, 17, 18 at the time. And I was like, well, I have to call Jeffrey. What am I going to do?
Lacerda says that she called Epstein, who hired an attorney for her, and she never heard anything further about the case. It was in 2019 that the FBI spoke to Lacerda again, and this time her statements to the FBI helped them build a case against Epstein.
Do you feel some relief, some pride that there was this direct line in ultimately him getting arrested?
I would have felt much better today speaking if I was able to speak in 2008. If they would have gave me the chance to speak, these women would not have been through this.
Now a mother, Lacerda says in the days before traveling to Capitol Hill, she pushed herself to share her story with her own daughter, hoping to set an example for the next generation.
I did tell her, and that was tough. But she's so little and so naive. She's like, she's like, Mom, you're such a badass.
As the political debate over the release of more files related to Epstein rages on Capitol Hill, Lacerda is hoping transparency can help her remember the details she's forgotten and finally begin to recover from the trauma.
What would you like Congress to do?
I would like for them to give all the victims transparency to what happened and release these files. It's also not only for the victims, but for the American people.
Wow, that is unsettling for sure, and I'm sure it's much worse. And this is why you definitely should know that the Bible says, be sure your sin will be found out. Be sure that these things that you're hiding, you think that it's not a big deal, it's only gonna get worse and worse. So bring your things to the light before it's too late. It's just gonna get worse and worse. I'm sure if Jeffrey wasn't a part of this crazy conspiracy and he was just someone who had a perverted mind that allowed it to get worse and worse, that's the reality. And that is only going to let you work for the enemy, the devil. It's crazy. So guys, I would love to know what you guys think in the comments below, whatever that may be. It's also fascinating stuff. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I encourage you to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I know we can do it with your help, so thank you so much for all the love and support. Have an amazing day, and God bless.